Welcome back. This is adamslivertrade, and I'm going to take you through my 5 stock watch list for tomorrow, December 9th. So, got a lot of requests from the very first video that you wanted to see more about how I made these levels. Perfect. Definitely something I'm willing to go into. My goal here is to keep these under 15 minutes so that it's short and sweet and synthesizable. So, first thing I'm doing is a good practice would be to just think about things that have good sentiment, right? What are people trading? What are people talking about? A lot of my options trades, you can find the tickers on this hot chains and tickers on unusual whales. I love this because it shows me what is getting the most volume, what is getting the most money in and out, what has good flow, right? And like I mentioned at the end of the last video, I don't care if it's bullish or bearish, to be honest with you. I just want to know where the money is. So having, eliminated ETFs, I can see Facebook's up here, Nvidia's up here. Um, and those are two of my main watches for tomorrow. The rest are Uber, Baba, and Riot. And there's Baba, and typically Uber's on here. Um, So generally, what I'm looking for in the selection of these tickers, it's definitely not a random process. I'm thinking, okay, what is contributing to a possible big move for these stocks? My next step is to just take a look at the daily chart, and I'm saying, is there a big move potential here? Is this stock in a make or break zone? Is it on a support looking to bounce? If something's on a support, for example, Facebook here, you would want to play it because it could either break down really, really hard or it could push, make a nice move to the upside. So, similar thought process actually going into Facebook today. It's coming up to this support about 335-ish, which is fine because um, that could act as a trigger for us tomorrow. And then additionally, the downside could be just as good. This chart has just been crazy. The flow is crazy. I love it. Uber has been also receiving very constant flow, and this chart is looking like it wants to resume to the upside, but I'm just as happy taking the downside play. Nvidia came across my radar because it was an inside day, and it stood out to me because this small of a candle is very, very rare on something like Nvidia. This is probably the smallest candle since maybe over here. So, from wick to wick, very interesting to me. Baba, first thing I'm noticing is this downward trend broke out. We can draw the trend line here. If there, that's what I see. And then I see a breakout. I see kind of a retest-ish. And then I see a fail on this daily chart, possibly going back down into the trend, or it bounces again. Either way, it's in a decision-making zone. That's what I care about. And then Riot, a couple pretty small candles in a row, looking like it's trying to absorb this move near 30. Maybe it's consolidating under that key level, and then it just wants to break out, and I could easily see 31.90. I don't know. So I'm going to take you through each of these 5 very briefly, and go through my progression, how I found the levels, and why I picked the certain strikes that I picked. So first off, I have Facebook calls over 332.70 and Facebook puts under 330 or 328. So go to the hourly. What are we seeing here? Okay, the top of this consolidation, top here or bottoms here, bottoms goes across. Nice. I really like the way that it's just so clean. And then you see the bottoms here too on these candles. I spend a lot of time in the 15-minute as well. And the significance of these blue and yellow lines, the blue lines are my triggers. These are the ones that you'll see in my watch list that I tweet every day. The yellow orange lines are price targets or old levels. These are old triggers, but yellow and orange will be price targets that they're not necessarily in the way, so I'm fine leaving them on the chart because they could help me. So take a look at the 15-minute, just further adds confirmation to the fact that this is strong levels. Resistance turning support over and over and over again. Lots of touches. Love it. So what I'm thinking here is, okay, Facebook, has a pretty solid range. I don't know, maybe $10. Today was right almost an $8 day almost just to the green. So I'm thinking this can have plenty of juice. So I'm thinking Facebook 337 fives for calls and then 325 for puts. And why? Okay, Facebook has a ton of flow. Had a ton today. Love to see that. And what sticks out to me immediately on unusual whales is just the volume of out of the money strikes. This is so important to me because not only are they out of the money, but they're also weeklies. So there's going to be Thursday and Friday, 2 days left on these contracts that there's not much time value. So these people are making some very urgent bets, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm saying, wow, okay, they're forecasting a very solid move could happen. So I'm thinking 337.5 just because, take into account what I think the daily range could be. I think those could go in the money very easily. The 325 puts also had a ton of volume, fairly cheap, only $5 out of the money. That immediately stands out to me. Think those could easily be a move under 328. Next play would be Uber. If I just camp out here at the 15-minute, you can see it's pretty easy to see why I chose these levels. The bottoms of this consolidation, bottoms here, top, top, and you can see I'm keeping these within a range. I'm keeping them equidistant from the previous from the market close. This is not taking after hours into account. Um, this is just equidistance from market close. That's my strategy. So you can see this puts line lines up really well across several different candles on the 15-minute. Um, very equidistant, perfect. Feel like I'm leaving myself enough space. Great. Okay, let me take a look at Uber's flow. So I immediately was drawn to these 40 Cs. Don't know what happened here. I mean, could have been any number of things, but that's a lot of volume. So obviously people are interested in that strike. For puts, I'm thinking 38 puts. Pretty much at the money at this level. If it's under 38.40, it's basically at the money or close, but it's a Thursday. Don't want to get too crazy with it. I'm fine taking the 38s. I wouldn't want to take 37 puts. I mean, 37.50. Oh, these are for 916. But yeah, I think 38 is probably a very safe bet. And I think the 40s are also a very safe bet. And I could see both of these going crazy tomorrow. Next would be Nvidia. I haven't played Nvidia in a while, but I do love trading this one. You can see I got each of these triggers pretty much equidistant. They're both about $4 away from the market close. And what I think about this is, let me go to the daily. Very rare that we get a candle like this. Okay, we got to take advantage of it. I think it gave us a great range, basically, playing the inside bar setup, pretty much high of day, low of day. And again, this is just a very rare setup to come by, especially on a Thursday when contracts are going to be cheap. Same thing as Friday. Thursday, Friday, the weeklies are going to be cheap. I tend to stick to weeklies, and I just reduce my size throughout the week. So Nvidia can't help but notice 320s, 325, 330s. These 330s had the most volume today. Tons of OI. They're cheap and they're extremely out of the money, and they have 2 days left on the contracts. You can't ignore that. Additionally, you do see plenty of volume on puts, which is a good indicator of liquidity in the puts. And so, even the short side could be just as compelling. So, over this call trigger, I could most definitely see 328. Under the put trigger, I could definitely see down here to 306. Totally possible. Next, I have BABA, and like I said, I noticed this trend line immediately. I'm going to take it off so that we can visualize better in the chart. I'll go to the 15-minute. Honestly, the hourly might work better here. Yeah, you can see the tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles. This isn't as good as I'd like it to be, but if you go to the 15-minute, it kind of paints a better picture for you. So again, equidistant, leaving enough space. I mean, these aren't, this is only $1.20 away. BABA has had some serious range recently, so might be cutting it a little close, but I want to see the move happen. Um, Over 126.25, I'm thinking 128 calls, and under 123.40, I'm thinking 122 puts. And it doesn't necessarily matter that they show up on this most active chains list for me. It's just the overall kind of volume together. I mean, yes, I see these 130s. I think that's very, very, very indicative of what could possibly happen, but I don't want to go that far out of the money on this play on a Thursday, especially on weeklies. Those 128s could easily go in the money. You know, I could forecast a move up here to even 128.75 if we break our trigger, and then for the downside, even 121.50. Totally possible. Last but definitely not least, Riot. A rare day that we actually get some consolidation. So I'll stick to the 15 minutes since there's really not much to work with here. But we do have very solid resistance here around this, 330.25 area-ish, all the way up to kind of 30.25 or 30.30. As far as puts go, I'm trying to keep them equidistant, not too far. It's about a little bit less than a buck. This is about 75 cents, but solid support here. We had several tests, test breakdowns, test and then breakouts, breakdowns. So I like this level. I'm always looking for areas that resistance has turned support, support has turned resistance, just as many tests as possible and reactions. So here, I think Riot just has a very, very solid setup because go to the daily, where is it sitting? Okay, it's kind of sitting in a range that it needs to make a decision either to the downside or to the upside. And my targets are these yellow lines. I mean, 31.90-ish, $32, maybe a little bit lower. And down here, even to the 27s, I think is entirely possible tomorrow. And I'm keeping this one pretty close to at the money. So I'm going 31 calls over 30.25, and I'm taking 28 puts under 28.65. You could look at 27s, but again, if you're taking weeklies, you just need to be careful to not go too far out of the money. If you're looking to take the next week out, then by all means, feel free to take further out of the money. What I'm noticing here is just 30, 31, 32, 29. I mean, 29s are in the money now, but on a consolidation day, it's very interesting that there was such heavy call flow. Whether it be buying or selling, it's still just a very interesting thing to note, and I am happy to take advantage of that. One thing that I forgot to mention here was if you Baba closed at about 115. Was it 115 or 125? 125. So close at about 125. Well, okay, so these 130 calls are $5 out of the money, right? Okay, so then what's $5 out of the money the other way? 120. Well, look at the price. These 120s, for puts is 72 bid, 78 ask, whereas the exact same out of the money for calls is 45, 46. Okay, so they're forecasting, or they're thinking that more people are wanting to take the puts because they think the downside is better, but BABA was up 10% not long ago. These are two pretty hefty green candles in a row. So if we get the call trigger, I am not hesitating to pull the trigger on calls. I think they could be a great way to uh, make bank where other people think it's just going to go down. So I have no problem going against what's normal or what other people think. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Worked hard to get the quality better. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you want me to improve for next time. Appreciate the support. Thanks.